much of a country what it is. They need every penny they can get.
They treated me all right this year. Best I've been treated in a long time.
Good.
I just hope they don't ask for it back.
Well, they might. They might. Well, it's April, believe it or not. And, the second quarter of the year, Easter weekend. How many of you were at a Monday, Thursday service last night? Anybody?
We didn't have one this year.
We kind of held our own. We held our own.
You have your own?
Well, we had even summer, we didn't know for sure. It might have been our last supper. We didn't know.
Well, today's Good Friday, and they have Easter Sunday coming up, so it's an exciting weekend. Got some announcements here on upcoming events in and around town. As I mentioned last month, Eric Anderson will be on the 27th, which is 2 weeks from now. On May 4th, Robin and Linda Williams will be here. Those of you who those names are not familiar should know that they performed many times on the Prairie Home Companion, the Garrison Field show. They were on that for many years performing, and they will be here on May 4th. So recommend that. Between the 11th of May and the 25th of May, we're going to be having the Saving the Bees art contest. We have it every year through the farmers market, where artists decorate or paint beehives, and then we judge them. We vote on them at the market between the 11th and the 25th, and then the winner gets an award of some kind, and then they usually auction off the beehives to help raise money for help save the bees in this part of the world. Also on the 25th of May, we're going to have the historic Winnsboro walking tour here downtown, which starts at the depot. Bill Jones is involved with that. Danny Lindsay, if he has recovered from his surgery, will be part of that too. There will be a tour of the historic points of downtown Winnsboro. There'll be a reenactment of the 1907 shootout right here on the corner.
Oh.
And the gallery will be involved with kind of a reception around noon, and I'll have an exhibit here of some of the historic photos of that era.
What date is that going to be?
25th of May, it's a Saturday.
Okay.
It'll be Saturday morning. The farmer's market will be on Market Street, but the tour will go from the depot down Main Street, come over here, come into my shop, and then go down to our center. You know, that's a nice thing. We've done it every year.
I got some nominees for that shootout, so people need to be shot. I'll give them to you.
All right, just bring them out. Bring them out. We'll be happy to shoot them.
Okay, here's Hailee.
We missed it last year because the city tried to get involved and take it over, and we decided not to do it. Hello. Then on the first Monday Night Live will be in May. It'll be May, June, and then September, October. And then once again skip July and August because it's too hot for them. It's unfortunate because they've kept the biggest crowds up to people talk. That's the way the city got there. Anyway, a band called the Dexter Row Band will be performing at that. It's free. It goes from 5 in the evening to 8 at night. There'll be food vendors there and probably some craft people and other stuff. So that's always fun to do. And that's all I've got right now on what's going on. Farmers Market, which has been the first 2 weeks, we're over at First Baptist Church's patio because of the rain, but it's going to be really nice tomorrow, so they'll be out here on Market Street. We'll be here from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12:30. And, well, it's to 12, and then it takes them a half hour to pack up.
Think anybody will have some homegrown tomatoes?
I don't think tomatoes are out yet. They got green things, a lot of green things. But I haven't seen any tomatoes yet. Been too wet for a lot of stuff. So that's what I got. All right, what am I going to do today? I'm going to read a little bit of Billy Collins. Billy Collins, for those of you that don't know who he is, he's actually older than me, still around, he's 78. He was a distinguished professor of poetry at Lehman College in New York City for almost 50 years. He retired in 2016. And he was a poet laureate of the United States from 2001 to 2003. I had most of his books at one time. I've sold most of them, but I have one or two left. I'm going to read a little bit from a book called Questions About Angels. There it is. You get a picture of it. And I'm just going to read one or two from the beginning. I've not read this in a while. If at all. All right, this is called American Sonnet. We do not speak like Petrarch or wear a hat like Spencer, and it is not 14 lines like furrows in a small, carefully plowed field. But the picture postcard, a poem on vacation, that forces us to sing our songs in little rooms or pour out sentiments into measuring cups. We write on the back of a waterfall or lake, adding to the view a caption as conventional as an Elizabethan woman's heliocentric eyes. We locate an adjective for the weather. We announce that we are having a wonderful time. We express the wish that you were here and hide the wish that we were where you are, walking back from the mailbox, your head lowered, as you read and turn the thin message in your hands. A slice of this place, a length of white beach, a piazza, or carved spires of a cathedral, will pierce the familiar place where you remain, and you will toss on the table this reversible display, a few square inches of where we have strayed, and a compression of what we feel. This is called First Reader. I can see them standing politely on the wide pages that I was still learning to turn. Jane in a blue jumper, Dick with his crayon brown hair, playing with a ball or drawing the cosmos of the backyard, unaware that they were the first characters, the boy and girl who began fiction. Beyond the simple illustration of their neighborhood, the other protagonists were waiting in a huddle. Frightening Heathcliff, frightened Pip, Nick Adams carrying a fishing rod, Emma Bovary riding into Royal. But I would read about the perfect boy and his sister even before I would read about Adam and Eve, garden and gate, and before I heard the name Gutenberg. The type of their simple talk was moving into my focusing eyes. It was always Saturday, and he and she were always pointing at something and shouting, "Look," pointing at the dog, the bicycle, or at their father as he pushed a handball over the lawn, waving at apron mother framed in a kitchen doorway, pointing toward the sky, pointing at each other. They wanted us to look, But we had looked already and seen the shaded lawn, the wagon, the postman. We had seen the dog, walked, watered, and fed the animal. And now it was time to discover the infinite, clicking permutations of the alphabet, small and capital letters. Alphabetical ourselves in the rows of classroom desks. We were forgetting how to look, learning how to read. How many of you grew up with the Dick and Jane books? That was one of my first books. I had a couple of them at the house that I resurrected from the shop. See-spot, run, spot, run. Yep. Just bought one of those, I remember that.
Those were page turners.
Yes, they were. I turned many a page, many times.
Dick and Jane, I remember that. And Alice and Jerry. Those two.
This is called reading myself to sleep. The house is all in darkness except for this corner bedroom where the lighthouse of a table lamp is guiding my eyes through the narrow channels of print. And the only movement in the night is the slight swirl of curtains, the easy lift and fall of my breathing, and the flap of pages as they turn in the wind of my hand. Is there a more gentle way to go into the night than to follow the endless rope of sentences, and then to slip drowsily under the surface of a page, into the first tentative flicker of a dream, passing out of the bright precincts of attention like cigarette smoke passing through a window screen? All lay readers know this sinking feeling of falling into the liquid of sleep and then rising again to the call of a voice that you are holding in your hands, as if pulled from the sea back into a boat, where a discussion is raging on some subject or other, on Patagonia or thoroughbreds or the nature of war. Is there a better method of departure by night than this quiet bon voyage with an open book, the sole companion who has come to see you off, to wave you into the dark waters beyond language? I can hear the rush and sweep of falling leaves outside where the world lies unconscious, and I can feel myself dissolving, drifting into a story that will never be written, letting the book slip to the floor where I will find it in the morning when I surface wet and streaked with daylight. I will read one more. This is called the Norton Anthology of English Literature, which many of you are probably familiar with if you took any English lit course. And many college or universities probably had to read this book, pieces of it. It is easy to find out if a poet is a contemporary poet, and thus avoid the imbroglio of calling him Victorian or worse, Elizabethan, or worse yet, medieval. If you look him up in the Norton Anthology of English Literature, and the year of his birth is followed only by a dash and a small space for the numerals only spirits know, then it is safe to say that he is probably alive. Perhaps out walking in a pale coat, inhaling the night air, alive and contemporary as he lights a cigarette, and the smoke billows forth like an amorous thought, dissipating over the cold, large, heavy river he is staring into. But if the dash in the book is followed by another year,
You didn't know how to tell.
perhaps he is
Why
nothing
don't
at
you
all
introduce
save what
it?
remains
No.
of a few
Okay, as
pages
soon as he gets
there
started.
for you to read. Maybe read over it. Read aloud in an empty room. Did you know that it is possible, if you read a poem enough times, if you read it over and over without stopping, that you can make the author begin to spin gently? even affectionately in his grave. History is busy tonight in the freezing cemetery, carving death dates in stone with a hammer and chisel, and closing those parentheses that are used to embrace our lives as if we were afterthoughts dropped into a long sentence. In the light of all this, I am thankful that I can even see history standing there holding her allegorical tools, and I am amazed at how tall and solemn she was, and how immaculate are her robes. Billy Collins.
I'm not going to read just yet. Last night, while I was at McDonald's, they had an inspiring artist that showed up to have coffee with me and Bob and some of the others. And so we invited her to come join us. I've watched her grow from this tall, her and her sister both. Don't fight that coffee up. But anyway, they did tours all over the United States. And she's a singer, songwriter, entertainer. And I mentioned about the Live Poet Society tonight, and she wanted to come read some of her prose and poetry. So I'm very pleased to have her here tonight, Ms. Hailee Nixon.
Yeah. So, as some of y'all know, I did this thing for E.Elm. It's a really big thing for the state, and I had these stories, and I did them based off of things that happened to me in life. So one is about 2 years ago. My papa, my nana's husband, he died. It's based on the effects of suicide, so that's the very first one. It's done by Sharon Draper. It's called Tears of a Tiger. You know what really ticks me off? You.
Excuse me?
You're a coward and a sellout. You decided to end your life without saying goodbye to anybody, without asking anybody for help. You deserted your friends and your family, the people who love you the most. Suicide is the coward way out. Brave man face their problems. So what does that make you? I don't want to face my problems either, so what does that make me? Do you know what courage is? I guess you don't. Do you know that the courage it took at that exact moment to actually blow yourself away is way more than enough courage to keep on living? I'll be here tomorrow. Where will you be? I have some questions for you. Everyone has been asking, why? Why did you do it? Why now? Why didn't you ask anybody for help? But I've got some harder questions for you. What were you thinking while sitting in your bedroom with that shotgun? Who did you think would find you? Did you have someone particular in mind? I'm not through with you. Your mom found you. Or what was left of you. Did you think about her? Could you feel her pain as she walked into your room and saw your body draped across your bed with a gun clenched in your hand and shattered segments of your head spread across the room, which looked as if it had been painted with blood? Do you know what blood smells like? Your mom does, and she'll never forget it. I was there too. The moment your mom screamed, I ran upstairs. And from that point, it's like a terrible videotape that just keeps rewinding, that won't erase. The blood, the screams, the tears, the frantic call to 911, the ambulance, the body bag, the police, the numbness, the mourning, the disbelief, the questions, the more tears, the funeral, the wake, and then the pain. The pain that just won't go away. tell me, what were you thinking? You can't be dead. But I went to your funeral. I felt your coffin. It was warm and woody, but you couldn't have been in it. I wanted to open it, scream, because everybody here is dead. They're all dead. Thousands and thousands of dead people, people who would never come back. And that's when I really did call out your name. I finally cried for you. I wept for you because you were supposed to be with all these dead people because you can't. You just can't be dead. Your absence is like a wound in our hearts that won't heal. Nobody understands why you decided to end your life when you had so much to live for. So you're out of it. And we have to stay here feeling your pain as well as our own. Some people say, and don't get me wrong, you know how often I go to church. Well, some people say that killing yourself was a sin, and you'll go to hell for it because you took a life that had been given by God. And you can never ask forgiveness for that. But I can't bear that thought. So in your case, I hope God is forgiving. I hope God understands that your pain was so powerful, but your heart was good. I'm not going to cry anymore, because I'm tough like a tiger. Tigers don't cry, do they? I'll always love you, and I'll always miss you, and I'll never forget that it's okay to put dragons in a jungle. And tears on the tiger. Bye. Okay, so this next one is actually a story done by Leslie Gerner and David Pelzer, and it's a personal story about how Pelzer, he was in foster care, and his mother, she abused him. And I did this because I was also in foster care, for those of y'all who don't know. But this is just a story, one of the bad stories, you see on the news, that you hear stories of how kids find good homes and good families, but you hardly ever hear stories about kids who are into bad situations. So this is just one of those stories. Smack. Mother hits me in the face and I topple to the floor. I know better than to just stand there and take the hit. I learned the hard way. She takes that as an act of defiance, which means more hits, or worse, no food. I regain my posture and dodge her looks as she screams in my ears. I act timid, nodding to her threats. Please, please, just hit me again, but let me eat. I have to have food. Another blow pushes my head against the tile countertop, and I let the tears of mock and defeat stream down my face as I storm out of the kitchen. I count her footsteps, making sure she's gone, and I breathe a sigh of relief. The act worked. Mother can be me all she wants, but I haven't let her take away my will to somehow survive. Before the station wagon comes to a complete stop, I dash out of the car. Mother tells me to come back. Tell them you ran into the door. Because I'm so late, I have to report to the administrative office. The nurse welcomes me and sees the bruise on my eye, and she takes me into her office. She looks me over. We go over the normal routine. What's that above your eye? Oh, I ran into the door. It was an accident. She knows me better than that. She walks over gets a book off the top of the counter, takes it down, and quotes. Here, you said that last week, remember? I quickly changed my story. I was playing baseball and I got hit with a bat. It was an accident. I'm always supposed to say accident. But the nurse, she knows me better, and she scouts me, so I tell the truth. I always break down in the end and confess, even though I feel like I should protect my mother. The nurse tells me that I'll be fine, and she continues to look me over. She stops at the old scar on my stomach. And that's where she stabbed you, isn't it? Yes, ma'am. Oh no. I've done something wrong. The nurse must have seen the concern in my eyes, and she puts the clipboard down and leaves the room. After, she opens the door, and then there's a police officer. Miss Pelzer, this is Officer Smith from the Del City Police Department. Your son David, he will not be coming home today. He will be in the custody of the San Mateo Juvenile Department. If you have any questions, you can call them. And he hangs up. He smiles at me. Now, that wasn't so hard, was it? But the look on his face tells me that he is assuring himself more than he is me. A few miles, we are on Highway 280, heading towards the outskirts of Del City. And I look to my right, and I see the sign that says, "The most beautiful highway in the world." The officer smiles with relief as we leave the city limits. Dave Pelzer, he says, "You're free." What? Punching my only source of food? I don't understand. Aren't you taking me to some juvenile department or something? He smiles and gently squeezes my shoulder. "No, David, you have nothing to worry about. Your mother, she's never going to hurt you again." I lean back against my seat as a single ray hits my eyes and a single tear races down my cheek. I'm free. I'm free.
Is anybody brave enough to follow that?
We may be a little outclassed here.
That child is good.
Thank you, Harry. Really, really good. Glad you have Joyce and Hailee and your friend, I forgot his name. Thanks for coming. Found this poem. I didn't like the poem too well, but look at the picture. The picture was beautiful. It's called Snow on Good Friday. I thought, well, I'm going to take that with me because it's appropriate since today is Good Friday, I thought. But I had another little article here that kind of dovetails in with what Hailee was saying. I don't know how many of you guys ever heard of a guy named Mike Gwynn. That name sound familiar? Let me get my glasses on, I'll tell you just a little bit about it. It says, Mike Gwynn began writing prose poetry inspired from his work as a child abuse investigator in 1997. Since then, he's traveled all over the country, facilitating workshops, featuring, hosting, consulting, appearing in commercials, radio, film, and stage plays. Mike is hosting tomorrow, this weekend in Tyler, the second annual East Texas Spoken Word Invitational. I never heard of that before, but it happens tomorrow, so it'll most likely be too late for us to get there. But he wrote a poem about that, and it's called The Oldest Little Boy in the World. And I'm wondering, what good is my master's degree if I can't even master me? It was a blue day, one where ghosts gather to mourn the murder of dreams, where latchkey kids melt like polar ice caps, praying for someone to unlock the mystery of their misery. When you're little, all you're supposed to know is Santa Claus, cartoons, sunshine, and love. He was supposed to love us, protect us, instead of being a crooked, shifting shadow with a soul as transparent as a screen door, wearing the stench of lust as loud as May blossoms. And there weren't enough blankets in the world to hide under when you lived with a monster. Now, you didn't know I was going to read it, and I didn't know you were going to tell your story. I thought that you did pretty good there. Spoken word invitation, $500 worth of prizes if you got the best story, apparently. Go to any of my daughter. See what it's like.
All we got to do is get an invitation.
Well, I think you just go sign up. They're inviting everybody, looks like. But anyway, Snow on Good Friday. This thing was written by Catherine Lawton. I never heard of her before, but it says, grieve when snow falls on Good Friday. What about the greening, the beginning of spring, when like manna fallen from heaven, my body broken for you into flakes and crumbs, soft, pure white flesh, spread upon all that lies both dormant and sprouting. Morn reflects the rising sun, except in the rockiest places, which saturates fallow and seeded, both broken and wasted ground. I think that's talking about Christ giving his body for us. That's what I took to mean anyway, since it's Good Friday. But Donna found this poem for me, and I kind of like it. It says, Pitter Patter of Raindrops, written by Barbara Pitter, believe it or not. It says, pitter patter raindrops falling from the sky. Where's my umbrella? I'm supposed to have an umbrella. Falling from the sky. Here is my umbrella to keep me safe and dry. When the rain is over and the sun begins to glow, little flowers start to bud and they grow and grow and grow. Isn't that cute? Early spring. Good night to my dreams, looking for the sunrise. A quiet spring morning, waiting for the birds to sing. Days getting longer, shifting cold winds, streams flowing, waves rippling across the pond. Oh, sunshine, sunshine, turn the grass green. Dandelions are hiding in the lawn. Chipmunks, hopping bunnies, and the hoot hoot of an owl. Sparkling flower buds blossoming, red, yellow, and pink tulips. Clean spring rain showers, rainbows, and orange sunset. A perfect setting for a perfect day. I thought that was pretty good too. Anyway, I won't take up any more of your time, but thank you for letting me come once more. Thank you for listening, and see you next time. You're next, Doc.
I really enjoyed that, Ken.
Thank you.
I thought I lost them all. I was in a panic to find them. Let's see, I found a couple of new ones. Let's see, I just came up from church, so that's why I'm in black. This one I'm going to read is about a toad. The reason why is when I was a kid, me and my cousin, we chased toads around, so I thought this might be good. I don't know which word to throw in there, but here goes nothing. Let's see. I was really in a muddle, looking over a mud puddle, because I didn't find a paddle or a twig to ride the reef. But I said, oh fiddle faddle, this is just a little piddle of a second fiddle puddle, so I saddled up a leaf. I sat sail on the puddle, but I reached the muddy middle, and I rocked the leaf a little. Then I gave it all I had, and I solved the mighty riddle of the whole caboodle puddle. When I kind of hilarious. Let's see. This one I forgot the title of it. That's real good. Let me see here. I forgot what the title was. That's bad. Oh well.
Real title, you go ahead.
Yeah. Good morrow to the golden morning. Good morrow to the world's delight. I've come to bless thy life's beginning, since it makes my own so bright. I have brought no roses, sweetest. I could find no flowers dear. It was when all sweets were over. Thou wert born to bless the year. But I've brought thee jewels dearest, in thy bonny locks to shine. And if love shows in their glances, they have learned that look of mine. And one more. There it is. The one you like. It's about guitars. My guitar has 6 strings. It gets lonely when nobody sings. Magical and mythical. My pick makes my guitar sound so magical. And no matter where I go, she's right there. When I play my guitar, people always stare. We sound so good together. I hope my guitar will stay with me forever. My guitar has 6 strings. And it's repeating itself. Why is it doing that? Oh dear. Wait a minute. Yeah, it did. Wait a minute. Okay, here it is. It overflopped it. Hold on a minute. Let's see. Oh, there it is. My guitar is never out of tune. It doesn't matter who I play it to, whether you're happy, mad, or feeling blue. Just remember, my guitar will help you get through.
Something to me already? I didn't bring my glasses. Okay. Y'all can see me, that's the main thing, right?
You'd be like happy we're a parent.
You want to borrow mine?
I do want to thank Hailee for sharing that. I think I'm kind of composed now. If y'all been following me on Facebook, you know I got bitten by the love bug. Bad. I've got an appointment with the doctor Monday. But anyway.
You want to try these?
Oh, I got it. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is called The Cowboy in Love. And Jill, if you was here, you'd hear it tonight. I thought you was coming. You got a smile that's big as Texas and just as sunny bright. Your eyes as pretty as all outdoors, all sparkly like the night. Your hair soft as a feather bed. It floats in the summer air like a billowing cloud above the range. And honey, I do declare that you stole my heartstrings, clean away from where I'd hid them to keep it safe from love's wild ways. And then there thing you did when you rode your horse up to the barn, just the way you hopped right down with a look and shake of your riding skirt. Well, the barbed wire that I strung around my heart to keep it safe from women ways just fell to pieces then. And now that I've seen the likes of you, I'm in love all over again.
Wow.
That was wrote in 2001 by McLeod, Davy Lee George. Okay. I'll try to breeze through this one. Where'd it go? It's right here, I promise you. There it is. Okay. This was called The Cowboy Lament, but it could be sung to the Sweet Betsy from Pike. I bet you probably heard this one. Across the Texas border in old Mexico, there was a cantina where we liked to go. The whiskey was cheap and the music was loud. So right after payday, they drew a big crowd. A sweet senorita by the name of Loree caused my heart to melt when she looked right at me. When I got the courage to ask her to dance, she smiled at me sweetly and jumped at the chance. But still, Jill showed up. From the very moment, I think we both knew a lifetime together was what we pursued. But destiny dealt us a hard blow when I was called out by Gunfighter Joe. Lori ran between us to stop the gunfight. I then watched in horror at this fatal sight. The body crumbled was my dear Lori. She had taken the slug that Joe had meant for me. My single shot left Joe dead in the street. I'd won the gunfight, but I still felt defeat. The one special thing that had meant most to me, I'm now lost forever, my precious Lori. I never go to old Mexico when payday comes around and the cow hens all go. I ride with the wind on the vast lone prairie, and I hear it whisper the name of Glory. And now and forever my fate it shall be to hear the wind whisper the name of Glory. That's my text humbly. Thank you very much.
As long as you can see me on the screen, everything's fine.
My name's Joe Boyd. I'm one of the founding members of this group. I want to say thanks to Doc Davis for inviting Hailee. I also coordinate a musical event at Tenney Chapel United Methodist Church. Several people in here performed there. Steve, Ken performs there. Chris performs there. Doc performs there. We've had a good luck to have Hannah and Hailee perform several times. By the way, are you Ms. Nixon?
Yes.
Yeah. You're the booking agent. So we have worked with her by telephone when we got them scheduled at Tenney Chapel several times. And if you would like to get her scheduled or them scheduled anytime this year, please see me before you leave. And it's great to have our performances in this great building. We want to thank Donnie Ditto, the manager of the Culture Club, who always has us, not only hosting us, but has us refreshments. We'd like to thank in absentia Vic Clark, who owns this building and works mostly out of Dallas, but he owns several major properties in Winnsboro, and it's kind of a second home to him. Sometimes it's his first home, maybe. A lot of debts we owe to people in Winnsboro because it is a art-oriented town. I'm going to continue for the past few meetings of the Live Poets Society. I have been reading poems written by my high school best friend, and in many ways still my best friend. This is something he sent me a while back called Bartow. His name is Bartow Fanning. He is an engineer in Lubbock. He has the biggest engineering firm in West Texas, and he writes interesting poetry. He and I used to write in Winnsboro High School. In fact, we started writing in grade school in the memorial. We were first class to the end of memorial school over, what do you call it now? It's
Memorial Middle School?
yeah, what, is it considered a middle school now or what?
What?
Memorial school. Yeah, but that's when we first started writing, I think. And we would pass it around to our friends who like to read our stuff and that sort of thing. And both of us still write poetry. And Bartow has sent me his latest compilation. And I'm going to read 2 short poems of his. And I've been kind of specializing in Bartow's verse for the past 2 or 3 months, and be no different tonight. This one is called Walmart Parking Lot Blues. Some of you, if you ever parked in the Walmart parking lot, you know, if you're there at the right time of night or wrong time of day or whatever, some interesting things can happen. Now, I think he intends for this one to kind of be sung or in some way have a little bit of musical backing to this, because he's using, you remember in some of the old Stephen Foster tunes where he has iconic things in it like doo-dah, doo-dah, doo-dah day and that sort of thing. Well, Bartow has those kind of things in this poem. I'm not going to, since I don't know for sure he wants it to be sung to the tune or anything, I'm just going to read it and kind of do the doo-dah stuff verbally. Okay, Walmart Parking Lot Blues. Hampton coaches come to town, doo-dah, doo-dah. A pigeon drop was going down, doo-dah day. Eyewitness had 'em cold. That is the tale they told. But they split the scene and hit the road in hot pursuit. The police rolled, oh, doo-dah day. Mistaken identity. Now they're back with Johnny C. And they're going to sue. Claim they never knew not to hang around this Lubbock town. And P.O. the boys in blue. Oh, doo-dah, doo-dah day. 2020 made their case. 30 million decimal place. It's a network TV. Wendy's apology. We'll send 3 coaches on a shopping spree, and the bill comes to you and me. Oh, doo-dah day. There is a moral to this tale, doo-dah, doo-dah. Don't cob the cobs during a Walmart sale. Oh, doo-dah day. Walmart parking lot blues. I've got one more, and this one is one that my friend Bartow wrote. I know a little about this one because he wrote it several years ago. And he said it to me then because he wanted me to try to pitch it to the Autumn Trails Association officers and maybe try to get it adopted as the Autumn Trails song, the official Autumn Trails song. And I did turn it over to the people then in charge. I never heard back. So I assume they did not adopt it. I've never heard it sung or anything. It's called Autumn Trails. And actually, he's had this song recorded since then. If you're my age or older, you knew a guy in Winnsboro High School named Billy Paul Hall, who was the male equivalent of Hannah and Hailee. He was the most famous singer and guitar picker in Winnsboro High School. He could go all the way up and down the neck, do all the chords, not only in the first 3 frets, but he could come and do chords, bar chords, all the way down the fret, all the way down almost to the body of the, and he can still do that. We had him come and appear at one of our high school reunions recently and be our musical entertainment. And he can still play as good as he ever did, if not better. So I'm going to read this song. Now, Billy Paul has recorded the song. It's on his website. So if you want to look it up sometime, you could just Google Billy Paul Hall and maybe find this song, perhaps. Okay, here's the poem. Autumn trails calling me, I hear them calling me. Come home where you belong. A nip of fall's in the air, and my old friends are there. My heart sings a glad song when I'm heading home. Autumn trails calling me. I hear them calling me back to where I come from. autumn trails calling me. I hear them calling me back to my home, Winnsboro. Autumn trails calling me. I hear them calling me back to my home, sweet home. Leaves from the trees, they're falling in the breeze, turning red and gold. Root cellars full of yams, smokehouse full of hams, peanuts in the loft. Simmons are getting soft. We'll taste the sweet red wine from the wild muscadine. Blue ribbon canes, head high. In the still of the night, stars are twinkling bright. They're guiding me back home. Soft sounds of the fall. Hear the whippoorwills call. I thought I just heard a night mockingbird, a coyote's lonesome howl, the hoot of an owl. All the sweet sounds that say home. Autumn trails calling me. I hear them calling me back to my home, Winnsboro. Autumn trails calling me. I hear them calling me back to my home, sweet home. Thank you to Bartow family. Let me just say that old friends are usually the best friends. And if you've had a friend for life, somebody who's been your friend all of your life, treasure, cherish that person for as long as you may live. We always conclude these meetings with a paragraph from How to Read a Poem, subtitled And Fall in Love with Poetry, by Edward Hirsch. Extremely well-written book, very inspiring, very instructive. And the poem, the paragraph we're going to read tonight is, it looks like it's 10 or 12 lines. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 lines. We limit it to a paragraph each time. Jill Orton belonged to a generation of poets who took check verse in a more inward direction. He did not shrink from his own subjectivity, from what he knew. A small elegy inscribes a sacred feeling, a tenderness so deep it feels almost otherworldly. By temporality, by the march of history. It also inscribes the premonition of a death that was indeed coming for him. Often died in a bizarre accident in Prague, Czechoslovakia, in the summer of 1941. One moment he was stepping off a curb to buy cigarettes from a local kiosk. The next he was hit and being dragged along the street by a speeding German car. He was refused admission to a nearby hospital because he was Jewish. Another admitted him, but it was too late. He died a few days later. He was only 22 years old. A small elegy seems to me a deeply unflinching poem. It is nearly unbearable. When I read it in the middle of the night, my impulse is to wake up everyone around me, everyone I love, before it is too late. Before it is too late. And thus concludes tonight's program. Thank you, Bob.
My pleasure.